Hey guys, Named Reaper here. So I just got done watching Lift on Netflix. This is, of course, a brand new action heist caper starring Kevin Hart in a rare straight action role and directed by F. Gary Gray, who, of course, brought us the Italian Job remake, Straight Outta Compton, Fate of the Furious, and Men in Black International. Although, what's made it to cinemas for that film is entirely the vision of the film's producer, Walter Parks. Yeah, can we get a release of the F. Gary Gray cut hashtag? And I was kind of interested in seeing this, not least because of the fact that a lot of this was filmed across my local Northern Ireland. Yeah, it's always exciting when the filming locations for a big movie are places that are nearby to me. I was also kind of curious as to how Kevin Hart would handle this like straight role. Does he pull it off? Let's find out. So the film follows Cyrus, who leads a crew that carries out heists of valuable works of art. And upon their latest heist, a job in Venice in which they steal a Van Gogh painting under the cover of buying an NFT at auction and selling the painting off a black market, they end up getting busted. And they are given two choices by Interpol: face time in prison, or have their slates wiped clean by helping them steal $500 million worth of gold, which is being transported by air to a private compound belonging to banker Jorgensen, who's planning to use the gold to pay a network of cyber terrorists. So, look, I wasn't exactly expecting anything amazing from this. This is a Netflix movie. I was expecting, given the premise, I was expecting just, a half decent time that would entertain me for a couple of hours, not leave too much of a lasting impact, but certainly I'd feel positive about it in the moment. Unfortunately, this is very much a Netflix film wherein it's very glossy, kind of overly produced. You got star-studded cast, but yet the whole thing just feels really generic. Like this is the sort of thing that Netflix puts out all the time. A big budget like action comedy vehicle with some big stars that you'll ultimately not for remember anything about by the time the weekend finishes. That like it's their business model, that it makes them loads of money, gets big views, but yeah, it just feels so generic. Right? Like the concept is pretty cool, like an oceans movie, but in the air, like that you could have a lot of fun with that. But unfortunately, at a script level, like they seem to have taken like about as safe and generic a route as possible. And I guess this is Netflix's whole thing where, they feed these really cool elevator pitches into an algorithm, and this algorithm then turns them into a screenplay, which is very safe and will satisfy the executives and the boardrooms and make them money, but ultimately will kind of contribute nothing of any kind of substance. And it's a shame because like it does kind of have its moments, but yeah, the whole time I was just never really invested in any of it. Like the characters here are all very surface level. We've got this crew who have their skill sets and their sort of defining personality traits, but there's not really much more to them beyond that. Like, you've got the sort of snarky deadpan pilot. You've got the safecracker who's like constantly wired and firing off zany quips. You've got the kind of theatrical master of disguise, and these character descriptions are about the level of depth and development these characters get. I am not kidding. Like, so it's kind of hard to really feel invested in any of it, and as a result, it means there's really no tension when the actual action takes place. Like there's the stakes here feel very low. Like even despite attempts to up the ante and make it feel more intense and the edge of your seat threatening, it just kind of falls flat. But because we don't really know much about why any of these characters are doing it or what's in it for them doing this, it's kind of really relegated to just sort of one offhand mention during an exposition dump. But yeah, that's the extent of the character development here, really. And there are some kind of good performances in here. Like, I kind of like Billy Magnuson as the sort of wired, zany safecracker. He's kind of fun. I also kind of enjoyed the always reliable Vincent D'Onofrio as the overly theatrical Master of Disguise guy. And there's some other fun little supporting actors in here as well. You've got Sam Worthington as Agent Huxley, where he's like, running the show over at Interpol. And you've got the always wonderful Jean Reno, and it's always really satisfying hearing his silky smooth French accent in films. He's a very fun villain. And you've also got Bern Gorman, who's, a very reliable, very capable supporting actor who always does good work. But here he's kind of saddled with a really naff attempt at a Northern Irish accent. Like, much like with Charlie Hunnam in Rebel Moon, I know exactly what my accent sounds like, and hearing hearing it imitated, it kind of sticks out. It's a really hard one to do, and unfortunately, he doesn't pull it off. I mean, the standout performer here, far and away, is Vivian Raw as Abby, an Interpol agent, and also ex-girlfriend of Kevin Hart's character, Cyrus. Yeah, she's good. She knows what film she's in, commits to it, and she commands herself very well in the, unfortunately, very generic action scenes, but, kind of rely on quick cuts and shaky cam to disguise how sanitized it all is. But she does good in these scenes. Unfortunately, though, the weak link is the film's leading man. Yeah, Kevin Hart is kind of not good here. Like, he's not bad, but like he's just kind of really bland. Like, you can sort of tell this mode is really unsuited to him. Like the film probably would have benefited from leaning into his abilities as a comic performer. Like, yeah. So you've got like some fairly decent performances here, and then you've got the one actor who's playing against type, and it doesn't work. Yeah. And I mean, from a technical perspective, it's kind of fine. Like, there's some decent enough needle drops, and the editing has some flair to it. Like, it's got that sort of distinct F. Gary Gray energy to it, so you can kind of see his vision shining through here. At times, though, it is distractingly over energetic where it doesn't really need to be. So that really stood out to me at points. But overall, this is exactly what it is. It's a fairly made, forgettable Netflix action movie that has its moments, but doesn't do anything wholly original, and sticks to very safe, well-worn plot structures and builds to some very predictable conclusions that ultimately you'll probably not remember much about this time next week. And overall, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. So yeah, let me know down in the comments, have you seen Lift? What did you make of it? Are you a Northern Ireland resident, and did you get a kick out of seeing the filming locations? And are you excited for Kevin Hart potentially doing more work in Belfast if recent articles are to go by? Let me know all that down in the comments. Don't forget the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget the subscribe button if you're new, and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.